So I get to bed at like midnight, expecting to wake up early. We can play some Go, get the tournament ready for the plan that we were doing. I wake up at 3:30 a.m. to the sounds of squeaking and scurrying, and I find that there are mice in my apartment. So I spend basically most of that night with the lights on trying to like duct tape all the radiators because I didn't know where they were coming in from. Try to figure it out this morning. They installed new cabinets in my apartment, and apparently there's a giant space in between the cabinet and the floor, like underneath the floorboards. So I gotta go run some errands, get some mice sealant, seal my house up because I need sleep, and I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. So not the smoothest start to this whole training montage week I've ever had. But you know, when are things smooth? We're just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna roll with it. We're gonna do shopping. We're gonna get the errands done, and we're gonna come back, and then we'll try to do our tournament games in the afternoon. So I will see you guys after I have kept my apartment from freaking me out. See ya. This video is brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporters. To help support my work, keep my videos ad-free, and get rewards, follow the link in the description below. You can then select a tier depending on your budget, and every little bit helps. Thank you. Alright, so got that whole mouse thing, hopefully, taken care of. Plugged up all the holes that I could find, and now it's time to try to play some Go. So we're going to try to do 3 games one on TieGem, 1 on Fox, 1 on IGS, and we'll also do a 2-dan game on TieGem. The first 3 will be 1-dan, and we're going to do a 2-dan game just to see how it would go. I'm like 50-50 in the 2-dan circuit, but I feel more comfortable playing in 1-dan for a tournament level. So, yeah, let's get some games in. Alright guys, well, kind of didn't work out as well as we would have hoped. Played 3 games and we went 0-3. But the silver lining to all of this is that the first 2 games we played, we had a chance to be in a very dominant position. And I think these diagnostic games did their job because I have a good understanding of where I tend to make the most mistakes. And it is not in the opening. In fact, my opening has been fine, I believe, more or less perfectly acceptable in all 3 of my games. So I'm going to go through all 3 of the games that I had played and talk about some key places where I kind of went from a winning position to kind of dying in a fire. So this was the first game I played on Fox against another 1-dan. Decided to play a little bit territorially. Try changing directions. Played out a bit of a standard Joseki. I get some influence. They get maybe points. This is not... I don't consider this their territory yet because there's a ton of Aji. Because you can... Whoop. You can play this move. That's forcing, that's forcing. And we've almost got a living shape. So I did not believe that this was really their territory yet. So I was like, great, I'll take a wall. I'll take more of a positional advantage. So I tried to be super aggressive. I was trying to see how well I can fight and how well I could cut them apart because I have this thickness and I want to use this thickness to try to attack something. So I want to try to cut this group off from the stone, try to get it running and make points along the right-hand side. Happy to announce that is pretty much what I did. We took advantage of some key points. We got great 4th line territory. And we got we picked up some potential territory in the middle. So I think this exchange actually worked out really well for me, especially considering that, again, I can bring the stone back to life whenever I want. White's going for what feels to me like the smallest card of the board, but we're going to try to, rather than passively defend, move out and put white behind our sector line again, basically making this more attackable and threatening to cut off white's ability to make points along the left-hand side. Double meaning attack, so now we're threatening to cut off this group, which still has no eyes, as well as make more points here. Now, from this position, I feel great. We more or less have the same amount of territory on the left-hand side. I picked up a good amount of points here, and it's my move. I felt really, really, really good about this game. In hindsight, I think maybe developing instead of trying to pull the stone out right away would have been better. Because this is the last big point on the board. I think that that's probably the more mature move. But I did not play the more mature move. I kind of played the greedy, impulsive move. Because I felt like I could live here, and I felt like, well, if I live here, white literally has no points. Everything white had is gone if black is able to live here. And since I already picked up a good amount of territory on the right-hand side, I felt that that was fine. So I started the sequence. So I play here. Personally, I was looking back at this, and I think a more safe move would be to play this one, because it's very easy to see how white can live here. If white tries to pull the stone out, black threatens to make an eye this way. And now it's going to be very easy for black to make an eye in this shape. If white tries to do something, black just Ataris, white takes, black has an eye. In fact, black doesn't even need to play that move. Black can play this move, and now it's a living shape. White tries to play inside here. Black plays here. If white plays to play in here, black can play up here. Now that's starting to make an eye here and here, so black needs to cut. And black lives. If white goes up, black can still play here. And white can't make this move because black will immediately capture. Whoop. So black's alive. To be perfectly honest, there were a lot of ways this thing can live, and I decided to choose the one variation where it couldn't live. So I decided to play this. And now, because this was able to escape, this whole thing became false, and this group was dead. What I should have done was play here. Because as long as I'm playing here, if white takes this, if white moves this out, I can just do this. Now, if black tries to make this false, I simply can just take, and that is 2 eyes. If white tries to play this, then I just do that. No big deal. And white has 2 eyes. I don't know why I didn't see that or why I played this, but it was a really bad misread in a situation where a lot of variations made black live here. So making this reading mistake was really, really bad because now all of these are dead. All of those are dead, and it's just really bad. Oh, not a good reading mistake, not a good reading mistake. So I tried to get more points, take control of the last open part of the board. White makes some overplays. So we get into a little bit of a fight here. However, white's able to capture these stones, but that's only 1 eye, and I get Sente to be able to drop down here and get a huge amount of potential influence on the bottom side. So now I'm chasing a great weak white group. White decides to give up on it, go into the corner. I'm like, fine. I'll take that and take this. This is a very complicated reading situation, but I read that the shortage of liberties on this white group allowed me to play this move. So now if white plays here, I can Atari. White needs to play here to keep this group from dying, but that means that's an Atari. White needs one more move here, but can never actually get enough points or get enough liberties. So this was a super complicated fight, and I'm pretty happy that I read this one out correctly. So that was good. Here I let white take the corner because I realized that this has no eyes yet. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to win this game, I need to poke these eyes out. Because if you look at this entire group here, there's only one eye. This is the only eye that white group has. And I can seal this off with one move, which is by playing right there. So I found a bunch of Sente exchanges that would threaten to cut this group off from this bottom group, so white has to respond to it. So white's trying to stay connected. Again, threatening to cut and take those white stones. And now I surround. And I'm like, great, I think I actually killed this entire thing. I didn't see a way that white could get out of it. White plays here, and I play here to try to poke out this eye. And I misclick, and I play there instead of playing 1 point higher and keeping white contained. So that was one of the worst misclicks I've had in a long time. It was terrible. I saw that and I was just like, oh no. Oh my God. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. I do not feel so good. But yeah, after that, it was pretty much game over. So from this game, I learned that my opening was good. I made an immature invasion decision. I made an immature invading decision, but I was about to live and it would have worked out, except I made a really bad life and death mistake. I had it perfectly set up to live. For some reason, my brain farted, and we died there. And then we could have captured the entire dragon, and I misclicked. And so it was just a very unfortunate, series of unfortunate events. But I definitely felt like I was outplaying my opponent for most of this game. I felt like I was in control. I felt like I knew what I was doing. My goals were being carried out. And unfortunately, the misclicks and my life and death malpractice lost me that game. So that was game one. All right, my second game was on IGS, and I ended up losing this game by 17.5 points. But again, the reason was quite literally almost identical to the last reason. I had a good game. I was keeping up the pressure. I felt like I was ahead in points. I felt like I was in control of the game. And then just something happens. I don't read in a correct sequence. I don't keep the pressure on. And I let a bunch of my advantage slip away. So I'm just going to take you through this pretty quick. I was also playing black. Decide to pincer because they decided to tanuki. Or they decided to play here instead of another corner. So I'm like, fine, I'll take the corner. Decide to pincer. And then hit the 3-3 because I'm like, I'm going to be playing territorially. It doesn't look like they can make a Moyo. This seems like opportune time. They play kind of a weird Joseki here. But I felt like I was okay. I'm alive, so felt like it, and I'm not playing a Moyo game, so I felt like it was fine to take this time to counterattack. This and this are kind of me-I. I wanted to play here because I wanted to try to mitigate the power of this wall. Then decide to save my stone. I think this exchange has made me a little bit clunky. I think this was a bad exchange, but it ended up working out. Picked up a few extra points here. Decided to take this move to mitigate the influence of the wall. Got my shape. Took an enclosure, threatening to expand. Here, I was looking at this move. I think it would have been better to try to make a wall here instead of what I did. And what I did was just take points. So now white got influenced around here, and I don't really like this result. I think that it would have been much, much better off if I could have kept white low. Maybe even doing something like this. Maybe white does this. And then I take Sente and I take another big point. This feels way stronger to me than what I played. So pretty bad direction of play mistake on my part on this game. But we do have a weak group for white, so that's good. I tried doing a leaning attack to attack the group more. I get a good surround on this group. And I get a very key turning point. This turning point is huge because that threatens, you know, something like this, and just so many points were just gained. I decided to push up one more time, giving white the opportunity to keep me a little bit lower than I would have liked. And here I connect, which is a really silly move. What I should have done was I should have played here. Let white do this. And then done something like this. It would have given white way less points to get stones in here, and it would have been Sente as well. Could have done that, and it would have just been, it would have been awesome. But I just stopped thinking in that move. I kind of was playing lackadaisically, and I just filled it in and let white get all of those points. So that was like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 points that I could have reduced to maybe like 5. So that was pretty bad. But I was able to get this move. And then I realized, oh my god, this shape is atrocious. I can 150% kill this thing. So I do. That's threatening to do a bunch of terrible things to this. I descend, and white just doesn't have enough liberties to take care of the stones. There's 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I was really excited to capture this entire group. I'm like, oh, great. Well, that's game. I got to win. Like, I was already almost ahead before that, and this will definitely seal the deal. But then a few more things happen. White plays here, and I play a defensive move here and let white get this move. So now if I play here, white just captures everything. I needed to play something, anything here. And what's white going to do? Try that? I mean, white can't. I should have read that the cut was fine, but I didn't. I was just scared of it without reading it, and I tried to defend it. Little did I realize I was risking that entire thing. So now white captures 4 stones instead of me, and all of a sudden my position looks much, much, much worse. This was way too much to give white. The captures were non-existent now. And it was gote, because I had to play this move to not capture 5 more stones. So white got that move, which was also key. I tried to do as good endgame as I could, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. White has just way too many points. I ended up losing by like 17, because white was able to take advantage of this shape here, and rip away most of these as well. So that was loss number 2. And again, I felt completely in control for most of the opening. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. And I felt like I had a good position. And then I just make a few stupid things, weird decisions that are bad decisions. Like this move, like taking these points instead of like trying to build more of a wall. That was the one positional mistake that I made. And then the second mistake I made was filling in here instead of counter-Atarying. And doing something like this, then playing here, which would have ripped away a bunch of white's points, and white did not need to have all the points that they had in that scenario. And then the nail in the coffin was basically getting this capture from abusing the shape, and then making this terribly oblivious defensive move and letting everything die. So I'm sensing a theme here. I'm sensing a very common theme where my opening positional judgment, and I think even to a point my fighting is good. I think I have better fighting than my opponent. However, I'm not keeping the pressure on, and I'm making these mistakes like halfway through the game that are costing me all my advantages. Third game I played was again at the 2-dan level. Honestly, there wasn't much that I want to go over because it was a little bit rushed. I was getting a little bit mentally worn down. And in the end, I lost by 9 points, which wasn't the worst. 9.5 points isn't the worst. But it was still a loss. But it was against 2-dan, which is one stone higher than these people. So, I mean, there's that. So, day 1, we did what we were supposed to do. Day 1 was a diagnostic game to learn about how we play, and I think I accomplished that. Despite a rushed morning and despite kind of a hectic day, I was able to play 3 games. I think for the most part they were of good quality, and I realized that my opening is fine. I really don't think I need to worry about the opening. I feel very strong in the opening. I think compared to the people that I'm playing against, I feel very in control. I have a game plan. And I think for the most part, my game plan is good. Where I seem to fall apart is in the middle to late middle game. In the middle game, trying to decide what I need to do. And then in the late game, solidifying and not making mistakes that rip away the advantages that I had gained. Like letting a captured stone group live. Or missing an Atari on my group. So that's good. I think this was a productive day. And I'm looking forward to playing more games tomorrow and maybe getting a teaching game with one of my friends to see if we can further iron out what strategies I should be trying to capitalize on for the tournament on Saturday. So hope you guys enjoyed taking a sneak peek at the games. A little bit disappointing of a record, but this wasn't to win. This was to learn about how I play. And so I think with that objective in mind, we definitely succeeded. So I'm not discouraged, not annoyed. I'm actually really excited to learn more about how I play and to get this going, get this training, keep this training going. If I was really good in the first day of training, then what's the point of even training, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this next installment. Keep your eyes tuned for tomorrow when I play a TG game with one of my friends, hopefully, and get their opinion on my game and what I can work on. So, yay! I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Can't wait for the next training installment.